Live. I think we might be live.
Looks like we're live.
All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Moon. This is Josh Hayes. Unfortunately, we're not on Keystroke Medium today. We're on the moon base, and this is my Moonday Show, the number one first inaugural episode. Talk a little about what we're doing and why. Talk about some books that I want to shout out to people I know, and just some other things about good stuff that's going on. I did miss, unfortunately, there was a golden opportunity. I was 18 seconds off. So as the show's getting ready to start, it's giving me a countdown like 14 seconds, 13 seconds. And Josh was making coffee in the background over there. I was like, oh, if I could start the show while he was making coffee, it'd be the most epic thing ever. It didn't really look like he was making coffee though.
Well, my coffee is like way back here. I have to get up out of my chair to get coffee, and that's a very big inconvenience.
That's bullshit. That's completely
rather
wrong.
than having to walk way upstairs to get my coffee, I brew it down here. So
that's pretty good. That's actually the only reason I have my coffee upstairs is so I can not be too stiff after 18 hours of writing. Well, not 18 hours, a bunch of hours and whatnot. So I'm clicking back and forth between our show and Facebook things. Let's see. Leo wants to know what time zone you're on. I'm like, well, the same as me.
All of the time zones.
Wichita. So, kind of what I was doing. First of all, thanks for coming on, Josh. Appreciate it because I don't like talking to myself.
Oh hell yeah,
and whatnot. I figured you could help me out if I have a sudden technology crash and whatnot. I wanted to do this because I have, of course, every author should have a Facebook group and a page and a newsletter and things like that. So I've had those things for quite a while and never developed them a lot. I have several other people I know and participate with have really fun author groups. So this is a group. This goes out on the Moonbase, which in the URL for Facebook, I think actually it's my old name, which was like the Scott Moon Group. So yeah, it was called the Scott Moon Group, but I changed it because people are like, it sounds like a really bad 80s band or something.
Or the Blue Man Group.
Yeah, the Blue Man Group. I could be a member of the Blue Man thing without a whole lot of work. Let's just face it.
Blue Moon Group. It's the Blue Moon Group.
So I am getting some, and not everybody, probably very few people are. This is also going out to my YouTube channel, which doesn't have a lot on it, not like Keystroke at all. But so I'm reading the messages this time. I do have my YouTube live chat open in case anybody gets on there, but nobody's on there. Everybody's on Facebook, which is perfect. And so when you talk, I can't tell who you are. It just says Facebook user.
It's Rick. What's up, Rick?
Is that Rick? Hey, Rick. Awesome. So I guess I could go over. Can I do Facebook on the other channel here? Let's see. So many things. It's a technological miracle this is even happening. This is happening. This is happening. There we go.
See, it's not as easy as I make it look.
I know that is actually a true thing because, for people who are watching the Keystroke Medium, every now and then Josh's like, hey, I can't make it because, my kid's got softball, and I go into immediate panic for like 4 days.
You're like locked up like a great impression of a hot dog. And he's like,
yeah, that's exactly what happens. There we go. So I'm moving stuff around and so I can see the comments. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there's Rick. Hey, Rick. Yes, the Blue Moon Group. And I do like talking to myself and my pet coyote. I wish I had a pet coyote. That would be awesome. What happened? There we go.
I just like making you nervous. That's why I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got that high quality mic, so you like disappear. I'm like, what?
What happened? I should just do a Chuck meme and just freeze like this, but not actually be frozen.
Well, that's my master plan is eventually to get Chuck on here so I can have some good meme potentials and things like that. So, all right. So I want to talk about kind of some cool things. I had probably, as Josh knows a lot, so he doesn't know I'm going to talk about this, but most of the times if I have a meltdown or some sort of panic or any type of writerly, Josh, my go-to guy, where I just lose my shit. So about 8 months ago, I was using Scrivener. I'll just go straight into this. Scrivener iOS for the phone, and it would sync with Scrivener on my computer. And I'd been a long-term Android Galaxy user, and Josh talked me into going, hey, you should get an iPhone and it would sync with your Scrivener. I was like, and I did that, and it changed my life. It's the best thing that ever happened. It was so awesome. Sure. So that's why the title of this, I think, that I put up there is the best thing that ever happened. I don't know. But then about we're always talking on the show about tweaking our process and how we write and things. And so I had come up with this perfect process that used Scrivener at home, Scrivener on my phone, and then sometimes some Dragon dictation apps if I'm out and about, and I could drop it into the Scrivener on the phone really easy. And I was cranking out words like crazy. I was finishing things. It was really great because I could stay in the story all the time. I never had to like go too many days without being in it. And then it stopped working. And then the angry, and then the angry texts and lamentations began. I'd be like cursing in our message group to Josh, what the hell is going on? The world's so unfair. This is bullshit, and went on. And so, but eventually, and I tried everything. I did all the forums, and I messaged people, and I cried a lot. And
what's interesting is I didn't even know how to fix it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so I immediately go, hey Josh, can you fix this for me real quick? And it didn't fix. I was like, what? The world is as I know it was over. So that's like act one.
Scariest environment imaginable.
Yeah, scariest environment. So that's act one of Scott Moon's Scrivener iOS problem. And then I go through all these different things. So I try doing some stuff on what was the Apple one. I'd shared it with you. I used it. I'm trying to remember it now. Look at my phone. Well, because I started using Google. I started using Google Docs again. I started using
Pages.
I used Ulysses, which is
right. Yeah.
And it's really neat because Ulysses is a Mac or iPhone app only, or a Mac Apple thing, and it automatically serves to all your Apple products. And it's a little bit weird because it's kind of like what do they call it? Dictation code or markdown code.
Yeah.
So you got to learn a little bit. That wasn't too bad. I know a little bit about HTML stuff. But then when I ever exported it, there would be some weird little errors and I could never get it to work. And of course the support good. And so I went through that. I started using Word through my 365 thing and stuff. And then like 2 days ago, I was bored at work and I opened the what is it? Latte and Laureate. Is that the Scrivener?
Literature and Latte.
Literature and Latte. What am I talking about? But I've been through the forum and just like literally I opened it and the first place I saw was the answer to my question. Nice. And so I tried it and it worked and I couldn't believe it. So basically what I had to do, if anybody has this problem with their Scrivener for iOS on their phone version of Scrivener, you can go into the settings. Hold on a second, so I know what I'm talking about.
And it doesn't work for me either, by the way. There's a caveat to this is it worked on my iPad Pro. Yeah, very strange. Scrivener, I could work on the Mac and I could work on the iPad Pro, and the Scrivener file, I would not have any problems. But then I would try to open it on my phone and wouldn't work either. It would the syncing wouldn't sync. It would just dump the program.
Yeah,
so it was very weird because I couldn't understand why it would work on my iPad when it wouldn't work on the iPhone because the iOS is the same.
And you have a big fancy iPad. I had an older Mini, and I couldn't get to work on that either. So at first I thought maybe it's a bandwidth problem or something. But so if you're on an iPhone, then you open Scrivener. In the top right, there's an edit button. You press on edit, and you can go down to the little gearbox. And then there's you get a pop-up menu that says Dropbox settings, and you click on there and you can choose what folder in Dropbox, what specific folder in Dropbox you want. And that's the part I think I'd been trying to do it from the Dropbox side, or I wasn't doing it right on my phone. So I go to my phone. Well, first I went to Dropbox and I made a folder brand new in a new place that's easy to get to in Dropbox. And I made that. And then I went to my phone, like I just said there, those steps, and linked it to that folder. And I did a test thing that worked immediately, and it's fast. And the thing is I have when I first got Scrivener, I dumped all my projects in there. So I have hundreds of projects, and some of them are like multi-book series. Yeah. There's all kinds of stops and starts. There's 30 versions of some different novels. And so I think something got saved into that folder that it doesn't like, because when Scrivener syncs it to your phone, it syncs everything that's in the folder.
Right.
And I think there was something in it wasn't liking, maybe a Dragon Anywhere file or something or program. So anyway, so that's my big news. Very exciting. I hope everybody's just happy. I mean, I literally am like giddy as a schoolboy because I couldn't even believe it. Like I got my life back.
Well, how long have we been trying to figure that out? I mean, it's probably been 3 or 4 or 5 months, probably.
Oh, it's been long. It happened because it happened right before Vegas. Like a month or two before Vegas is when I started really having troubles with it. And at the time, I just finished some books and I was editing them in Word because I was doing final edits in Word. That's what editors like and collaborators like.
Right.
But I do 90% of my work because so there's two things. So in Scrivener on the Mac or on the laptop, and it's probably the same. I know you have a very sophisticated Scrivener process with all of your outlining. You've shown screenshots of that before and stuff. But the main thing I use it for is I can split my screen vertically, and I'll put what I'm working on the left side. And then on the right side, I can either put a chapter that relates to this chapter, or I can put like my glossary or my list of characters or my plot beats for the next 5 chapters. And it's just really easy. Or I can like search for a character name through all of the books in the series. Yeah. And just have it right there. And it makes it so much easier to handle, especially a multi-book project or a really complex project. And I love it. So then on the phone, you can't quite do that, but when you can open it up by section, like just chapter 5 or just chapter 6, and then you can do the little screen sizing thing like you can on a Kindle, where you can make the font any size you want. Which, since I'm losing my vision and hearing as I get older, it's nice to So that's really good. I really love it. I'm super happy, and that made my day. That was big news.
Yeah, it's interesting that the functionality should you would think that the functionality would be the same between the two versions of the product, but they're not. But it actually kind of makes it a little easier to do. Like for instance, like you mentioned, I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on in my Scrivener file on my desktop. But on the iPad or the phone version, it's not very easy to do all of that other stuff. So it's mostly just open it up, find the thing you're working on, and type. And so it's cool that like you can have kind of the same file, but it functions different ways on the phone and on the computer. And a lot of times I'd actually do more writing on the iPad than I do on the computer, because that functionality isn't there.
You're focusing just on the writing and not on all of this structuring and stuff. So one of the other things that helped me with Scrivener, Josh showed me how to do the revision mode, which doesn't work on the phone, but it works on the Mac version, either on my laptop or on the desktop. And so you can do like first revision, and it does everything you type is in red. And then you can do second, and you have like 4 different colors, so you can really do lots of revisions. That is really cool. It'd be neat if it did on the phone, but that's fine. And the other thing there's one other thing that helps me a lot with that. I lost my train of thought, but it's just a great tool. I know not everybody likes. What I was going to say is, when I first used Scrivener, I tried to do everything that Scrivener could do, and I would I have it set up to like download each of the chapters in a certain way, so I could compile it into a PDF or an EPUB to be uploaded to Amazon. But now I just do the default settings. I break the chapters up by titles, so I can get the word. So the other thing is good is when I go to Scrivener and I click on chapter 1, it tells me how many words is in that chapter. Yeah. Which when you're writing, because I went back to Word for several months, and the thing is I'll write this chapter, and I'm like, that chapter is 7,000 words long. It's too long for a chapter. Right. And I got to go find a good place to break it up and change some structure things. So, but so it's really handy for that sort of thing.
The only thing I don't like about the mobile version or the iOS version is I don't do, when I'm drafting, I don't do a whole lot of deleting. I just do strike throughs. And so I have that macroed to my keyboard. So if I write a whole section and then don't want it, I can highlight it and do the key macro, and it'll just strike through and I can move on. On the iPad, I've got to click through like 2 different things, 3 different things to actually get. And then like sometimes the highlighting's wonky. So like dragging your finger across, you're like, I didn't mean to get that word. Or then you go too far and you go like the whole screen up and you're like, no, stop. I just want this one section.
Exactly. Yeah. Cause the phone thinks it's smarter than you. It's like, oh, you also want this whole phrase. No, I just want the word in the middle.
That's right. Stop and then you hit the wrong thing and it's like click and you delete your whole thing. And there's no like, what? I didn't want to do that.
panic mode. Well, and so to change font color, and probably for strike through for my phone, I have to touch the little tiny
paintbrush,
which
yeah.
I'm not really sure why it's a paintbrush, but I click on that and then I figure out where the formatting, well, it's right in the corner of my phone. And I have this like life proof thing, because as you've seen, if you've ever been around me, this phone has taken some hits.
That's not like you, Scott.
I may have dropped it
and caring with your electronics.
I know. I've almost never kicked it across the room on accident. So, so like there's a little edge to it and I can't hardly get my thumb in there, and it's just a pain in the butt. So no, this phone actually is the precursor to this one. I dropped my phone so much, I actually have a automatic skill for catching it with my foot on the way down, and kind of like just, I can't catch it.
Right. But you slow the impact.
I'm reducing the damage. But so one day, this has been years ago, I walked into the squad room right before squad started, and I dropped my phone, and I went to do that, but I mistimed it. I literally just booted it all the way across the room, flying like 30 feet and hit the wall. And all these new officers who didn't know me are like, "Oh my God, this guy's crazy."
Is he crazy, or is he just mad?
What's he doing? I'm like that. So, but yeah, so now I dropped this phone. I don't even care. I'm like, oh, like I dropped my phone. I guess I'll pick it up. I don't even worry about it. It's a very good case. Definitely worth the money. So, what else have you been up to? And then I want to talk about some shout outs for some books and things, but, what are you doing today?
I was just working on, Valor, the last Valor book, or the third book in the trilogy. I don't know if it'll be the last one. But I was working on that. I actually came up with some fixes to a plot hole that I've been trying to kind of work out as I'm going through the manuscript. And I was mowing Saturday, and it hit me like it usually does. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. I could do that. And it wasn't that big of a change. I added 30 or 40 words into a previous chapter that kind of fixed it. And it kind of explained it away. And so just working on that a little bit. And I'm actually listening to the audio book of book 2 right now. Finishing that up because I want to listen to Hale's War because it just came out on audio. And I really like listening to Luke Daniels read it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that was on top of my list for things to put out there in my shout outs today. So Hale's War is the final book in your collaboration with Richard Fox. That's in the Ember War series. It has Ken Hale and what's his brother's name? I always forget.
Jared,
Ken and Jared Hale. They go to a completely new part of the galaxy, and shenanigans ensue. So this is the final book. Tell me. This is the
final book. The ebook's been out for a while. Podium doesn't do simultaneous releases, or they don't do a lot. And I know with the Terra Nova books, they didn't. The first 2 are a publisher's pack, and then book 3 is actually the second book in the audio series and whatever. So anyway, I'm really excited to listen to the last book. It's been getting really good ratings so far on Audible, and a couple good reviews. Has some good reviews on Amazon too on the ebook. But it's just fun listening to the audio narrators that I'm used to listening to other books, and hearing them read the stuff that I wrote, and then like thinking to myself, I don't remember reading that. Or hearing something and you're like, gosh, I'm such an idiot. I should have written that differently, or something like that. It's just fun. And what's
it like? Because I got my answer for that. But what's it like hearing your book by one of those big time narrators?
I mean, it's great. I got the advanced files, and I listened to a couple of the advanced files, and I tell you, the first time I listened to Terra Nova, when I got the advanced files for Terra Nova, which was the first book that I ever had an audiobook on. I just sat there and grinned like a stupid kid, like just like listening to, we listened to the whole Ember War series, book 1 through 9 that Luke read, obviously, and then didn't he read? I want to say he read like Terms of Enlistment or something, didn't he? Didn't he read those Marco Cluse books? I thought.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think that might be Bray that did Terms. Let me find. I'll keep talking. I'm
anyway. Luke Daniels has read a lot of those books, and he's a really good narrator. Sometimes he kind of goes over the deep end with his characterizations. Sometimes those can kind of be unexpected, and Like for instance, he gave.
Oh, he did read Terms of Enlistment by
Yeah.
Luke Daniels as well, which is a huge military sci-fi book.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's interesting because he gave Carson a accent that I didn't picture having, but it makes her character cool. And then he gave West a like John F. Kennedy accent. Like, I don't know what kind of accent it is, but he gave him like
northeastern
started talking. I'm like, when did JFK get in my book? But it's cool. Like it's fun.
It's well, because you and I around here, and when we default to like making up voices, they're usually going to be kind of a drawl because that's what we hear more. Right. Haven't been to New York anytime recently. You also told me a story one time about the doctor that when you spell it phonetically.
Yeah. So in the second, and this was one of the funny things that I did in the book. I did a lot of stuff in the Terra Nova series that I put in specifically so Richard would get mad. He just read it and go, no, and just start beating his desk like some kind of raving lunatic. But so there, I had a German scientist in book 3, I think.
Yeah.
And I wrote it knowing that Luke was going to read it. And I was like, I really want him to do like a thick German accent, like what's his nuts from Hogan's Heroes. And so I wrote all of that guy's dialogue phonetically, and Richard got it. And he was like, absolutely not, change it. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I did it halfway to make him flip out.
It's funny because Richard's great to work with, but you'll send him something sometimes, and his reply will be nope.
Yeah, one line.
By the way, I'm cutting 6,000 words out of what you just sent me.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you, man. Have another.
Thank you, sir. And so anyway, I changed it back to regular spelling, but then Luke actually read it phonetically. Like he read it the way that I meant for him to read it, even without the phonetical spelling. So that was really cool. When I got to that part, I laughed. Like I laughed because I thought it was so cool.
It's the best.
So yeah, not a whole lot going on. Just trying to get Valor wrapped up. I've got some ideas for a couple other follow-on stories. Actually, talking about
from home, obviously.
Yeah. That's, I probably could have had Valor 3 done already if I wasn't wrangling kids all day, but it is what it is, and it'll be done. And one of the interesting things I've been thinking about is in doing projects going forward is trying to figure out what to work on. I've got a kind of an idea for a police thriller, and then I got an idea to kind of carry on the Terra Nova series, which I've seen a lot of comments on in Richard's Facebook group, and then also that I've been getting personally that people really like those characters, and when I look at the reviews for those books, especially on Audible, they're some of my highest rated books, and the people that read them really like them, and so thinking about doing a follow-on to the Terra Nova series, and kind of approach it differently from like having a galactic spanning big bad thing that they have to fight, and just making it like kind of like a Firefly-esque
or a micro level.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what when I finally get Valor done, what I can.
Kayleen's in the chat there. She says, or the Facebook, she says she always reverts to a Russian or a redneck doing voice. So I'm like, yeah, that's all. That checks out. Those are good too. I saw Rick had a comment. I'm trying to find it. And I couldn't. He says Mark Veeder gave one of his characters Norwegian last time.
Last name. Yeah.
Yeah, the Russian accent and stuff. So
Mark Veeder actually does a really good job reading.
I like Mark. Didn't he do one of yours?
He's doing the Valor series. Yeah.
That's what I thought. So the Valor series he did an amazing job.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought it was fantastic. So I'd listen to him anytime, because part of my thing for narrators is I like it when they can do cool voices, but I mostly like it that I can listen to it without being distracted in any way.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that makes R.C. Bray so popular, is that he's really easy to listen to because he's kind of steady. Yeah. He doesn't go too high or too low or too crazy. It just kind of gets you in the zone there.
Well, and I know that most of the time it boils down to personal preference. Like, I don't like the way that guy's voice sounds, or I don't like the way he inflects certain phrases or whatever. Like, Pandora's Star, John Lee read that,
I
narrated
like
that.
John Lee. He also read Pillars of Earth and some real good ones too. But anyway, go
Yeah,
ahead.
he's a good narrator, except that a lot of times, when he finishes sentences, his volume drops. So like he'll start, it's like a hill, like he'll start the sentence out and he'll
Yeah.
be very powerful and then it'll drop off. And I know with Pandora Star, that was one of my biggest complaints, because there were some times that I couldn't hear what he was saying at the end of his sentence.
It's like musical phrasing, a musical, if you're playing an instrument, that would be a good thing. But audiobooks, I listen to in my car while mowing the yard. And so when the volume varies too much, I lose part of it, like you said.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's all I got going on. I haven't been doing a whole lot of reading, which I need to get back into. I've been binge watching The West Wing on Netflix.
That's what you said.
And it's a great show. It's I'm on season 6 right now, and it's fun and interesting, and I think relevant. Still relevant, even in the time that it was written, even now. So it's good times.
I need to put that on my list of. I have a very long list of shows I want to watch, but I'll have to put that on there again. I started watching it's called Drifters, I think. Jay and Jeff. He was suggesting I watch this anime one, so I've been watching some anime on an app called Funimation. And it's really different. Like, oh my God, there'd be some really violent animation.
You know what I want to watch is where it's on Netflix and it's a Star Wars show. Is it Rebels?
Yeah, I haven't watched Rebels. I've heard it's good though. I've watched, what was the one there was one before that I watched quite a bit with the kids when it was on DVD.
Walt was saying that Star Wars Rebels it has a really good story. Even though it's a cartoon, it's got a really good story. Maybe it's not on Netflix. I thought it was.
It's probably on Disney.
Yeah,
Disney Plus. So I've been struggling to get as much reading as I would like to do, because when I started this, I used to read 100 books a year of fiction, and then I'd read some nonfiction stuff too. But I think I'm probably reading 30 or 40 books a year.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those are audiobooks, but I also probably throughout most of this year, I really started doubling down on listening to my own stuff back to me through various apps. And that helps me stay in my story and do my editing and proofreading stuff. But it really cut into my reading time, because I would listen to it on the way to work. Well, I used to listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
And stuff. So lately I've started to go back to doing the Speechify app for editing and story review in a more focused manner when I'm actually at the computer. And so I've been listening to audiobooks while I work out or drive or whatever. And I just finished the First Law trilogy that you got me onto with Joe Abercrombie.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome. I'm really curious if you get to the end of that to see how you feel about the ending. Not so much the ending, but like the whole kind of like the last couple of chapters and what all the characters do and stuff.
I think I'm on book 2, but I'd have to see how far I'm into it. I don't know that I'm that into this.
I think that's one's called Before They're Hanged.
Yeah.
He has interesting titles.
I think there's extra books in that series too. It's a trilogy, but I think there's extra books in the universe.
It definitely leaves it open to some other story things happening. I mean, he has a resolution for the trilogy, which is we've talked about that the other day, but so there's an excellent ending, but it's clearly sets up that there's a lot more to the story world that he can go into and do and on those sorts of things like that. So that's good. So I've been reading that. Hale's War, like we said, is out on audiobook. People should go give it a rating and review. Also, Chris Winder and Jay and Chaney, they just released Cyborg Core. We met Chris out in Vegas, and he was very enthusiastic. He's a great writer. Read some of his stuff, so I recommend people checking that out. Devin Ford, he's part of our Keystroke Medium group, kind of more in the background, but does a lot for us. and he just released After It Happened, which is in the After It Happened 9. And that series is a post-apocalypse. So it's a little bit different. It's kind of interesting because I was writing a story for him to put into that universe, and I haven't been able to get it finished. I really like it. I'm not sure if I want to I don't know. I kind of need to see what's going on with the current state of affairs before I do too much more. But
Right.
it's eerily creepy because basically in the After It Happened series, it's like it's just an unnamed thing killed everybody except for like a very small amount of person. And so some people may like that. Like I know a lot of people have been reading The Stand, and some of those other, what's some of the other ones that are like that? They're real popular. There's 2 or 3.
I know Joshua Gayu wrote a post-apocalyptic series called Commune.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I just downloaded that on Kindle the other day. So I'd be curious to see how those are doing. That was an awesome mute, by the way.
I just gave you Corona.
Yeah. Yeah. You gave me virtual Corona. That was not only did you cover, but you also muted your mic at the same time.
Dude, I was looking fine. I was like, it was like a countdown, like 3, 2. I knew it was coming. I was like, where's the mute? Where's the mute? I'm looking for it.
Yeah. Good stuff. So moving on from Josh's case of the coronavirus online here. Bastion of the Reaper, we just put out. So that's not really news to anybody that isn't on this group.
No, but that's great, dude. 10 books.
Yeah.
I mean, what, a year and a half, maybe?
I came up with the concept, I think, in December of 2018, but I didn't really get cranking on it until in the middle of January. And I think the first one we launched like February, I think 8th of 2019. So yeah, ripping through those. And I had to finish some other stuff too. I finished like a second complete rewrite of a book called Brothers in Arms, which I was publishing, had originally submitted to the Galaxy's Edge for the Order of the Centurion, which is, you have a book in the Strikers War, which is, again, an excellent audiobook. But the production schedule got really weird. And I talked to Jason and Nick, and they're like, well, we're kind of moving on to season 2 of Galaxy's Edge. And it just came down to where it was going to be a lot more work to make everything fit. So they said, well, with their blessing, they were like, take all of our Galaxy's Edge stuff out of it and put it forward. So I did that because I really, really, really liked the story. And then eventually I was lucky enough to get a hold of Steve and Red at Aethon, and they're gonna publish that. So I'm working on, it's done and it's ready. And it's got an awesome book cover, but I'm going to write the second and probably third book before we go forward, just so you don't have to stress about production schedules.
Yeah,
if possible. So
I'm never doing a pre-order again. Not unless the book's already written.
Pre-orders are like the wooden stake in holy water for Josh, the book writing vampire.
Oh, they're definitely my kryptonite, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
this is Josh writing. I'm talking to him. How you doing, Josh? He's like, I'm writing 5,000 words a day. I'm writing 5,000 words a day. It's like, we did a pre-order.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
It's like literally hitting a wall. So,
and whether it's I've got 6 months left or 3 days left, it's still the same. Like I'm just,
yeah, it's like literally a magic invocation or a curse, some sort of curse. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and I don't particularly like them. And Josh has been also, back when I was doing Dark Landing, when I was doing Dark Landing and the last couple of the Terran Strike Marines for Richard Fox and Dark Landing for Craig Martell, I had lots of deadline related blow ups where I just lose my mind. I'm like, I got to go to work, but I got to write 15,000 words a day.
Yep.
Because Dark Landing was, it was a 30,000 word book every 18 days, in addition to my other writing obligations and work. And I wasn't as efficient with my schedule, and the family hadn't come on board as completely as they have now. Because now I pretty much, if I disappeared, I don't get bothered as much. Back then I would time my writing sessions. And so I'd be like, start. And I'd start typing, and then they would come in and interrupt me, and I'd hit stop, and it'd be like 33 seconds. That was the average. It took 33 seconds to be interrupted. I know all the work from home people understand it's so much better now.
It's funny, like everybody's making all these memes about staying home and working from home and social distancing, and everybody that I know, all the writers are like, this is every day for us, man.
Oh yeah.
The only difference is the kids don't have school, so now instead of being gone 3 days a week, they're here all the time.
Yeah. The only difference for me is that there's a giant blanket fort out there. So if I walk out early in the morning, I make sure I don't, and they like to sleep in it. Like every other day, they've been alternating. So I don't want to go out there and wake them up. But it's been, actually, there's been some positive things with the stay at home. I don't get to stay home, obviously, because I have to go to work and do the cop thing. But we've had some interesting things. So like the other day, we took a family walk with all my wife, me, and all 4 of my kids around our neighborhood, which is about 2.6 miles, the little course we walk. And that's the first time we've done that, everybody at once, ever. And I was like, and I realized, I was like, that's kind of interesting, because we go on walks and take the kids out, but usually take we'll do stuff with the younger kids or the older kids, or kind of a mixture, not usually everybody, but we did that. And of course we had it modified. So we had one on a bike and one on rollerblades and one walking a dog, and we're all walking at different paces. It was definitely not a tightly run ship there, but we've done lots of walks. We've done some bike rides. I bought everybody rollerblades. The stay at home is getting to be rather expensive here, because I'm always ordering something, some kind of entertainment stuff. But and then we even tried to play basketball. If you ever see me play basketball, it's not even funny. I mean, it's just literally painful to watch. But we do that, and then we've been eating a lot of meals together, which has ups and downs, but mostly good. So
I found so I went, when we first learned everything was gonna be locking down, I went to the store, and instead of buying toilet paper, I bought food, because I thought that was the more appropriate thing to stock up on. And so I bought a whole bunch of frozen stuff. And I bought these frozen chicken wings in a bag that were rotisserie flavored chicken wings. And I have an air fryer, and so I could take the chicken wings, dump like 9 of them in the air fryer, turn it on for 20 minutes. And at the end of 20 minutes, you have like perfect chicken wings, and they're like crispy on the outside, moist and juicy on the inside, and like legit. And so that's what I've been doing every day. I've got like 8 bags of chicken wings in the freezer, and I got the buffalo flavored ones. I'll just pour them in the air fryer, and I'm good.
If we were on lockdown, I'd come over and steal your chicken wings. I'm not come by at work. I'll do a knock and talk.
Knock. Sir, we need to talk to you about your chicken wings.
We've had a complaint of chicken wings. I have to see some of those.
It's really good. And it, like, there's no mess, right? Because it's not like, it's an air fryer, so it's not like deep frying. So it's the healthy way to fry. There's no mess. All you got to do is scrub out the little tray, and you're done. It takes like 5 minutes. So I was really excited about that. And I don't know if I would have found that out without the whole social distancing thing. So
I got a couple of comments. I'm terrible hosts here. So
horrible.
Yeah, when you were telling about it, you told me the other day about the chicken wings thing, and I got so immediately jealous. So Chuck asked about if I prefer StreamYard over Facebook Live. I'm using StreamYard. We tried several things with Keystroke Media, and I went in and got the paid upgrade for my own writer group. So now this will go on to Facebook, but also goes onto my YouTube channel, which I've had for years, never really known what to put on it. So I don't know if it's worth anything, but it seems pretty easy so far. What else did we try besides? What was the other one?
We tried.
We looked at like Zoom and some of those other ones, but I think you got to pay quite a bit if you're going to have multiple people on them.
Yeah, gosh, I can't remember what the other one. We tried another one which was okay, but didn't really have a whole lot of functionality. I tried Ecamm Live, and that was good, but you had to run it off of Skype, and there was some other things that didn't really make it functional for Keystroke to use as a company.
We all have to log in from different places and figure it out, like for the Thursday.
Yeah. Guy says we used Hangouts for years, but there was something else that we used before we came to StreamYard. We used Blab too, but that was long time. Yeah. Gosh, I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. StreamYard, basically the reason we use StreamYard is 2 reasons. One, it's got a lot of functionality on the front end, so you can do different setups with the screen, so you can make it look like this. You can do really close up. You can do screen share with people on it. You can click back and forth. You can put branding on it. You can put scrolling text. So you can do a whole bunch of stuff.
Also, that awesome intro that you have set up for the Keystroke Medium is awesome.
But also the more important thing is we can stream to 2 different places at once.
Guy says you can steam fry those egg rolls too.
Yes, the egg rolls were good.
Anyway, but you were
so
saying
we can stream to Facebook and to YouTube at the same time, and reach both of the audiences that we have at those places at the same time. And that functionality was way cheaper to use StreamYard than to use. There's a whole bunch of other ones out there like rebroadcast or restream.io. You could do it with Zoom, but it's like it's ridiculously expensive with Zoom. And there were a couple other options, but this one seemed to be the easiest for the functionality that we wanted. And then like our company can use it for everyone. So
yeah, I've been really, and even I could figure it out. It took me a little bit, a little bump here and there, but it was pretty amazing. I was like, really? So it's pretty friendly. It's working now. There's of course a free version, which I highly recommend. And because it does basically everything except for like make your Facebook and your YouTube at the same time. That's kind of specific, but for people, I know a lot of people are kind of just starting out with different podcasts. And then, so for Keystroke Medium, we download the audio, we strip it out, and then it goes into a podcast. So, but that's something you can do either way. Now, I think it was Dean earlier. I can't really go through the comments very well. I'm Facebook impaired as well as technologically impaired, but he had said he had made a kind of a chuckle that the Galaxy's Edge said, yeah, take all the Galaxy's Edge stuff out and you can still use it with our blessing. And he kind of laughed, and that's true. It's kind of funny, but the thing is, they were very supportive. Nick is going to write a foreword for the book, and it's totally different. There's a lot of major differences because I changed some things, because when you write, and you know this better than anybody, Josh, that you write for somebody else's universe, you got to kind of follow their rules with some things. And so, like in Galaxy's Edge, there's no female soldiers in the in the Legionnaires. I changed, but the reason I mention it, that I'm very open that I originally had submitted it to the Galaxy's Edge people, is because if you're a true Galaxy's Edge fan and you read Brothers in Arms, you're going to go, this guy's trying to rip stuff off from their universe, because there's some key similarities. The similarities, like, so there's a group of elite soldiers, mine are called the Expeditionaries. They used to be lieges, and so I changed the name, but also changed some of the way they act and behave too, because it's, like I said, it's now no longer in their universe. I changed some of the things that the armor can do. I changed some of their gear. I changed the way they talk. In my books, there's some profanity, although I try not to get too carried away. My editors always tell me, now you're just being mean. You need to cut some of that profanity, because I'll write like a soldier or cop would actually talk, and nobody wants to hear that. So, and then there's more women in some of the critical combat roles. The aliens are different. The political structure is different, but like I have a House of Laws.
Right.
They have a House of Reason.
Right. Yeah.
They're different. And then for Brothers in Arms, one of the key things about the story is why it's so much different is because key things. One, it's written in first person present tense, which I didn't realize I loved it until I did that in this book. And long ago I had tried it, but it really came together. And then I wrote Shorty in the first person present tense, which is a neat deal. Shorty's, I love Shorty too. I got big plans for Shorty too. Yeah, and if you have to go, I know you got something at 12, Josh, and we're about done, really. But then the other thing about Brothers in Arms is the main character is a child of privilege who chooses to enlist, and so it's a different thing. Because I'm not sure if most of the time people like underdogs, but so this main character, he's somebody who's decided, instead of just have everything given to him, he's going to actually go, not just go into the military, he's going enlisted.
Yeah.
He does that well. And his family is so powerful, part of the power elite, that they're like literally like, will assassinate people that he gets too close to, because they don't want anybody to challenge the loyalty to the family. You know, it's a massive organization. So it's a different dynamic. And I hope people get into that, where I'm going with that, because it was kind of a risk. I was afraid it could bomb, and everything could bomb, but right. I like it. So,
you know what I would like to see in the, since we're talking a little bit about Galaxy's Edge, I would love to see someone write a book about a point, but have that point actually do something good.
Yeah.
Like I noticed one of the negative comments I had on Strikers War was that the points are always just horrible officers,
Right.
and they're obviously set up to be that way. But it would be interesting to see uh, the internal and external struggle of a point who has to go in there knowing that no one's going to like him, and kind of like you're saying, where he's coming from a privileged place, but he wants to do something, and
Right.
so yeah, maybe he did get appointed, and but maybe he actually wants to do something good, and maybe he's he's trying to learn how to do the right thing. He wants to know all the really good battle tactics and stuff like that. And I think it would really create kind of a cool dynamic of not only is he having some external struggle with whatever's going on, like the mission or whatever, but he's also struggling in the fact that the Legionnaires don't like him because he's a point.
Just because of the point, you can't ever check that. Well, in Strikers War, when I listen to Strikers War, what's your main character? Because he's not a point, but
well, there's two. There's Chase and Lincoln.
Yeah. And because he has that deal where he's kind of like actually goes through the training and does all the stuff, and he's got his buddy who's it's been about a little while since I listened to it, but so he's like takes it seriously, being an officer, and he realizes
there is
a bad reputation.
Yeah.
So
there's an officer. The captain of the group is not a point. The captain was actually he progressed his way up, got promoted into his spot, but
through normal career advancement.
There is one thing I wanted to mention, since we've got some people captive. We've got a little bit of audience. Yeah. I don't think that I can share it, so I might send it to you and have you share it. But Lauren messaged me and wanted me to talk about this a little bit, just because of what's going on with Corona and self-quarantine and all that shenanigans. It's a little while ago she had the idea and then created this spreadsheet for book services, and people that are in the group or that aren't in the group that can link their services in here, whether it's editing or cover design or formatting or marketing, and you can see addresses, you can see what genre they work on, what other books that they've worked on. A lot of people have rates that are listed in here.
So what do you think? You should put that into the Facebook group or into some place?
If you just put it in the StreamYard chat, then it'll show up everywhere.
Okay, I'll try that. Keep talking. I was just...
And the reason that came to mind is Jeff Haskell wanted to talk about his book, which he actually, I think, is his wife's book, but I think they work together to do it, and she does cover design. Yeah. And they wrote a book called Cover Your Book, and it's available on Amazon, but it's also in the spreadsheet. I think maybe he didn't put the link in there. Let's see. Anyway, so it's
I'll just put it straight in the Facebook here.
It's a good link. It's a good spreadsheet to check out and look at if you're interested in or need services, or even if you want to put your services up for sale. You can do it on this spreadsheet, and then it's linked in the group, and we'll talk about it a little bit more tonight on live. But I know that there's a lot of people out there that are still working and still trying to get stuff done, but also maybe that people are struggling and might need some help and buying some services from them.
I know at least a couple of people who work a regular job and do contracting, like for editing or book creation or bookers, but then they're like their day job is on hiatus, so they're like especially in need of more of the work from home stuff. So obviously support them.
Right. So check it out.
Yep, good stuff. So let's wrap it up. What else we got going on here? I made a bunch of notes, which is kind of crazy. Yeah,
it's not like you, Scott.
Yeah, pretty much covered everything, and then some. And people all know that I'm back to now. Of course, if you suddenly don't hear from me for a while, it's probably because my Scrivener for iOS no longer syncs my computer, and I'm crying in my basement, probably right over there. Have it happen. So good deal. Well, I know you got something at noon. I probably should go check on the family and I don't know, maybe feed them.
Cool.
It's a good deal. So
if
thanks for jumping on, man.
Oh yeah, dude. It was fun. I want to do it again. And hang out. I love just hanging out and shooting the shit.
It's no pressure on my show because Keystroke Medium, we got expectations. Here it's
I can just sit here and look pretty the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Next time I'm definitely starting it while you're in the middle of making coffee. What's that guy walking around in the back of his office there for? I don't know.
That's right. That's right. I'll have to make sure I have pants on.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be helpful. Well, your chair blocks a lot of it, so you should have some.
That's right.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, I'm gonna kill this and we'll be done. Thanks everybody tuning in. Later.
See you.